I find flying the drone is fun, but also incredibly stressful. It's out of control. The drone is out of control. Oh no, stop. I've got it back. Whew. This is Lady A, my floating home. Wintertime can be a bit punchy, hence the need for the log burner. It's quite an extreme contrast. It's nice to have that balance, however extreme it might be, to go from the rapid, relentless nature of these challenging documentaries and then return home to the boat, be on the river, on the water, surrounded by nature, and just chill. And then off I go again. It was in making a film about illegal pirate fishing in West Africa, in Sierra Leone specifically, when I first truly clocked the power of film. We were the first people to get video evidence of the pirate fishing. The politicians in Sierra Leone for years had been warned about what was going on, but they turned a blind eye, they weren't interested. And they saw just how bad it was. They saw how devastating the pirate fishing was to their marine environment and the fish stocks that they depend on. And they lost it. They were like, what is this? We can't have this. And they started making the changes and actually trying to get on top of the problem, all because of one little film. And then it's just gone from there, really. And any opportunity I've had to then, share my passion and enthusiasm for the natural world, I've just grabbed with both hands. Chasing hurricanes was one of the most amazing and terrifying things I've ever done. There is no escape, and it's totally committed. That gives the film a completely different edge. You've been in a natural disaster that is climate chaos at its most extreme. There's no going back from that. With climate change and the predictions that science is telling us, natural disasters on the horizon, it really made me want to know more about the climate crisis, and in knowing more, try and figure out what I can do as an individual to make a positive impact. And suddenly my brain told me that I needed to go on this massive adventure from the UK to Chile to get to the climate change conference, the COP25, fossil fuel free, so without creating emissions, make a documentary with the aim of raising awareness about climate change, but to do so by focusing almost exclusively on the next generation, take their voices and amplify them as best I could in a short film that I would then deliver to the UN. So I left on the 26th of August, and that gave me 3 months, essentially. Sailed across the Channel, travelled through France and Spain to Sevilla, to Tenerife, the Canary Islands there, Cape Verde Islands, into the Atlantic, to Uruguay, across Argentina by electric car, first person ever to do that, across the Andes Mountains by bike to Santiago de Chile. I started the trip on a sailboat, had my trusty bicycle, and on that I had my panniers in which I carried everything. A combination of cycling and electric trains. In Seville, I boarded a tall ship, a big 3-masted sailing ship, fantastic, incredible vessel on which I then was to spend the next 55 days. The major challenge, how would I get across the continent fast enough to give myself a chance of getting to Santiago in time for the climate events. The only way to do that was to drive an electric car. If I had cycled, I may just have made it in time. That would have been pretty touch and go, and I wouldn't have been able to do my job because I wouldn't have had time to stop and film with young people along the way. I just would have had to cycle. By hook and by crook, I managed to get an electric van and drive across Argentina, finding industrial charging points into which I could then plug my portable charging station. Bloody did it. First person ever to drive an electric car from Buenos Aires to Mendoza, which is kind of cool. Then I had no choice but to leave the car in Mendoza and cycle up over the Andes in 3 days. yeah, it wasn't all plain sailing. Not least of which, when I was bloody sailing across the Atlantic, finding out 2 weeks before I arrived in South America, committed. I mean, my ship had literally sailed, getting a message through on my satellite tracker. The climate change conference in Santiago has been cancelled and moved to Madrid. I received that in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. So I had a big decision to make. Do I turn around and try and race back to Madrid? Or do I continue as planned and go to Santiago and finish the job that I'd started? And continuing and delivering on that promise was more important. In learning more and more about the climate crisis, what I've seen that has inspired me the most is the young people. Every single time I met with young people on this journey, they buoyed me, inspired me, pumped me up. It was so important to get to Santiago. It was so important to deliver those messages. Everyone in Santiago was almost doubly appreciative of their collaboration, their willingness constantly to help, have me stay for the night, to help kind of charge my electric car or whatever it might be. You know, they were the adventure. I did what I said I was going to do. I fulfilled my promise despite the curveballs. There are fantastic nature-based solutions, and there are fantastic technological solutions, and we need to explore everything. But with Envision Version Racing and the race against climate change, that opportunity to educate, inform, but also inspire people with the excitement of electric cars at their most spectacular is a great thing to do.